As I said, there were a number of mayoral races around the country with African-American candidates. Let's go to Charlotte, North Carolina, where Democrat Vi Lyles made history, becoming that city's first black female mayor. She defeated Republican Kenny Smith. She was outspent 10-1 in that race. Of course, Harvey Gantt was the first African-American mayor of Charlotte. Now she's the first black female mayor. Also in North Carolina, Fayetteville City Councilman Mitch Colvin defeated incumbent Republican Mayor Nat Robertson in that city's mayoral race. Robertson had been running for a third term. St. Paul, Minnesota, as Greg alluded to earlier, has elected its first African-American mayor. Democrat Melvin Carter won the third, won just over 51% of the vote in a field of 10 candidates. Let's go to Cincinnati, Ohio, where City Council President Pro Tem Yvette Simpson fell short in her bid against Democrat and incumbent Mayor John Cranley. Now, she beat him in the primary. That woke him up. He won yesterday 54-46%. In Detroit's mayoral race, incumbent Mayor Mike Duggan cruised to victory over Coleman Young II. Young's father, the late Coleman Young, served as mayor for 20 years. From 1974 to 1994, he was, of course, Detroit's first African-American mayor. As I said, historic night for many African-Americans who were elected mayor for the first time. In Statesboro, Georgia, Jonathan McCollar. Georgetown, South Carolina, Brendan Barber. Milledgeville, Georgia, Mary Parham Copeland. Helena, Montana, Will Mott Kylands, a man who immigrated to there 23 years ago. In Cairo, Georgia, Booker Gaynor. And again, Melvin Carter in St. Paul, Minnesota. All right, folks, let's go to our next story. In Flint, Michigan, Karen Weaver survived a recall election in which she was pitted against 18 other candidates. Weaver won with nearly 53% of the vote and will serve out the last 2 years of her 4-year term. She joins us right now on the phone. Mayor Weaver, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Now that you won the recall, obviously you still have to get the pipes in that city rebuilt and get Flint back on track when it comes to after the water crisis.
Exactly. But you know what? It's so nice to be able to focus and completely focus on the business at hand. You know, we had these distractions, and that was one of the things I always said I was going to do, was stay prayed up and focused on what I was elected to do. And oftentimes people said, you act like the recall isn't happening. I said, well, no, I know it's happening. I said, but I have a job to do, and as long as I'm in this seat, I'm going to continue to look at what our priorities are for the city of Flint and move forward.
Mayor Weaver, when you look at, again, the issues that you must deal with, obviously there's none greater than the water, but how do you bring that city together when it comes to other contracts, when it comes to trying to get on path?
You know what? That's one of the things I did let people know we've got to focus on, and it's really coming together and healing our community, because this has been such a divisive incident that took place. We do have new city council, and so I'm really excited about that and looking forward to working with them. And they were people that I was working with throughout the campaign, and I know they're excited, and we have some of the same goals that we want to see for our city. So I'm really hoping that while we made a lot of progress with what was in place, we should be able to make even more.
All right, then. Mayor Karen Weaver, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, then. I'm going to go back to our panel here. Of course, we have Greg Carr and Michael Brown as well. When you look at, again, these mayoral elections, I always make the point local, 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 because when it comes to contracts, when it comes to the impact on most people's lives, that's really where it takes place, not D.C. or even state capitals.
That's right. Even a little town like Cairo, Georgia, the birthplace of Jack Roosevelt Robinson, you see a black mayor, which means resources. Now, Karen Weaver's challenge now is not only to engage her local resources, but to battle with the state. So what we're seeing now, that's why state legislative elections matter, as you opened the show with. We got 14 seats that flipped to Democrats in Virginia, with 3 still being counted. And so it's not just about the presidential elections. These local politics matter. Terry McAuliffe has already unveiling perhaps McAuliffe 2020 to run for president, but more importantly, when you look at Richmond, when you look at Hampton Roads, when you look at these local electorates, you've got to now get younger candidates, more progressive candidates, and people at the local level running. And what we saw yesterday finally is that these people are running and winning, Roland, winning city council, winning mayorally, and they're beginning to control these budgets you talk about.
Michael, John Tower, when he was elected senator in Texas, was the first Republican elected in Texas since Reconstruction. And what we have seen is that when you talk about these different elections, when you talk about how do you build, now Republicans control every statewide office in Texas, it's because they focused on local races. They focused on school boards. They focused on State Board of Education. Looks like Democrats, again, we had this whole battle with Howard Dean. I kept telling everybody, I don't care what anybody says, I don't care how many people love President Obama, it was a big mistake to get rid of Howard Dean. The Democratic Party became a national party, focused on national elections. They lost 1,000 seats across the country. You don't change America unless you go bottom up.
And people now see a pathway for growth in politics. Now you can become president. That's right. And so whether it's, I know you're talking about different people who are thinking about running in 2020, whether it's Senator Biden, whether it's Vice President Biden, whether Senator Booker, whether Senator Harris. People now see, hey, let me get on the school board. Let me then go city council.
That's right.
Now I can run for mayor. Then I'm going to run for the United States Senate or Congress. And you know what? I'm going to run for president or governor one day. Right. So people now see a pathway, and that's where the energy, frankly, Trump is the best thing that's happened to our party in quite some time, because he has energized people. Clearly, President Obama is really the Energizer Bunny. Why people think they can be president. But what Trump is now motivating.
He jumped in after.
But Greg, keep in mind,
yes, sir,
Obama served the same purpose for Republicans after 2008 and 2010.
That's right. In fact, it's interesting. Obama energized them. That's where we get Trump from. Trump is energizing. You've seen this progressive surge. But to go back to your father, man, the Rainbow Coalition, what Jesse Jackson did really put the Democrats in a position to elect Bill Clinton, because one of the things that he traded off at the convention in '88, I'll never forget, because we wanted Jesse to go and be on the ticket. He traded all those delegates to Mike Dukakis, but the play was to get your father in as the chairman of DNC, and that's what re-energized the Democratic Party. They've got to go back to that strategy.
And for folks who don't know, and I'll say this before we go to break, that for all the people, and again, you can love Obama all you want to, but let me be perfectly clear.
Come on, brother.
Unless the rules were changed in 1988,
that's right,
from winner take all to proportional delegation, Obama doesn't win in 2008. Those changes were driven by Reverend Jackson, Dr. Ron Walters, Ron Brown, and others. That's what set Obama up in 2008. Remember, in 2008, Hillary Clinton won Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, Nevada, California. Under the old rules, she would have won the nomination. And so do understand what happened in 1988 set up 2008, and it comes down to what happens in those local races. And the last point before I go to break, now also, if you look at 1984, 1988, black people won on the coattails of Reverend Jackson for sheriff, for city council, for county commissioner. We cannot ignore local races.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.